Midterms and gloomy weather aren't dampening the spirits of spring break travelers. We'll tell you how some students are preparing.
Also, change of location may mean change in judgment, but sometimes that excitement can go too far.
And how seniors are planning to celebrate that last week of freedom right before entering the real world.
All that and more on this edition of Carolina Magazine.
Hi, and welcome to this edition of Carolina Magazine. I'm Jenna Moore.
And I'm Lauren Roundtree. Spring break is just a week away and the buzz is already building around campus.
And the weather isn't too warm yet, but I have a feeling this pool will be a different scene next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, but a perfect spring break doesn't just happen. We'll show you how students are preparing,
how they're spending it,
and what happens when they get back.
Well, let's start at the beginning. All the anticipation leading up to spring break. Daniel Bowen tells us how people are preparing for their vacation.
It's a typical day here at USC. Students heading to class, checking their cell phones, the usual routine. But as they prepare to sit through lectures and take exams, there's really only one thing on their mind. For years, thanks to the likes of MTV, spring break has been hailed as the ultimate party destination for young 20-somethings, and USC students have been preparing to make sure their spring break lives up to that exciting reputation. If you're like junior Cameron Stiegel, a tropical destination is where your sights are set.
So I'm going to St. Lucia with my family this year, and I'm really excited about it because normally all we ever do is go somewhere stupid like Myrtle Beach with my friends, and that's dumb.
Though he's packing up for a trip with his parents and staying in a house with no Wi-Fi.
I don't know why my dad decided to pick a house like that.
Cameron is still optimistic about his upcoming spring break adventure.
And I get to go scuba diving and mountain climbing, and I get to go swimming in my Speedo and get drunk with my parents for free.
So Cameron's plans are in line with a typical spring break vacation, but fellow student Daniel Shelley is trading in beaches and sunscreen for witchcraft and wizardry.
Me and my friends are going to Universal, and especially we just want to go because of Harry Potter World.
So though he's more likely to pack an invisibility cloak than swimming trunks, Daniel is still considering this his first big spring break vacation.
It's the first time I've ever traveled really far without my parents.
Daniel will also be trading in beer for butterbeer, but not without making a few spring break style alterations.
There's no actual beer in it. So I was thinking of just like sneaking in alcohol and just like...
And of course, for every aspiring wizard taking their first trip to Hogwarts, there's one essential accessory.
So say there's a Dementor coming toward me, I just pull out my wand and I'm like, Expecto Patronum!
Though this year's spring break has yet to kick into full gear, both Cameron and Daniel are already looking forward to next year.
I definitely want to go to Mexico or Europe or the Bahamas.
I think we're going to try to plan a cruise. So all of our friends will be 21, and if we're not, we'll be in international waters. So it won't really matter.
Until then, they'll continue going through the typical USC motions until St. Lucia and Hogwarts are ready for their arrival. Daniel Bowen, Carolina Magazine.
That was an impressive Speedo. Getting your body bathing suit ready takes a lot of work.
I spoke with one student who's decided to get serious about her spring break workout plan. She's enlisted outside motivation to get her going. For Lauren Bilton, school and work are important, but getting her body spring break ready is a priority.
So I wanted to get back in a workout routine to lose some weight.
She says she'll do anything to get in shape for her trip to Sarasota, Florida. And she's hired a trainer to help her get the work done.
He's very good at, when I'm getting really tired, reminding me, you only have 3 more left, or you're halfway done.
Trainer Neil Boozer says he's finally found his dream job. He enjoys waking up early every morning and encouraging other people because he likes seeing others succeed.
But being able to help somebody else and see them, smile like Lauren that said today, like she lost 2 pounds, all right, that makes me feel good. It's only been a short period of time. For her to be able to do that in a short period of time, that means like, all right, she's got the right mindset. It's gonna make it easier for me because she's motivated, she's focused on what she has to do.
Personalized fitness comes at a price. Lauren pays $40 for each 30-minute session with Neil. For students who can't afford a personal trainer, working out from home can be a better option.
Inhale your leg up. Exhale, let your knee open. Inhale the leg up and exhale the...
Workout tapes are easy to follow and they're reasonably priced. Regardless of the price, Lauren says Neil is playing a huge part in helping her reach her fitness goals.
It's good having him here because he makes me, keep it up at an intensity that I can maintain.
Time is ticking away and spring break is almost here, so get to the gym before it's too late to tone up. Lauren Roundtree, Carolina Magazine.
But that's not the only way people are trying to get the perfect beach body fast. A big part of some people's spring break prep involves going on popular crash diets. Even stars like Beyonce and Jessica Simpson have been known to do them. And now our very own Daniel Bowen tries them out and tells us what he thinks.
We're talking about spring break crash diets.
All right.
Do you do them?
I do not.
Okay, that's good. Because what we're gonna do today are like the nastiest crash diets we found. So, let's start with Beyonce juice diet. So here's the fun part. We're going to squeeze this lime into this little bottle of water. Let's see how this goes.
Think of all the calories you're burning while you're trying
squeezing it.
Squeeze that lime.
We don't even need to do this fast.
I know.
We can just make it and
I'm
be
already,
done.
I'm watching you and I'm losing.
Right.
Once again, we're just gonna eyeball it.
Right, because you don't have measuring cups. You're a college student.
Right. So I'm just gonna kind of do my best.
Mix it up. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to Beyonce.
You know, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Ooh, the cayenne pepper kicked in at the very
I don't
end.
think
Now we're gonna move on to Jessica Simpson's smoothie diet. And you know, she does it, it must work. She looks great. So anyways.
It calls for 2 cups of spinach. I'm just gonna do 2 handfuls, okay?
What is our next ingredient?
Our next ingredient is gonna be pear.
Okay.
Now,
Which is already magically cut up for you.
I know, isn't that crazy?
The wonders of television.
All right. Run your spoon between like the meat of the avocado and the skin.
Oh, we should make guacamole. Nope.
Oh.
Sidetracked. Stay on
We're
focus.
on the diet.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That looks pretty good to me.
That looks good. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's all that will fit. So it has to work.
Yes. Okay.
All right, so we have our lime in there. All of our ingredients are in our cup. We're about to put it on the base of this nifty blender. I hate it.
That's disgusting.
I hate it. We do not recommend this. We should have known once Jessica Simpson endorsed it that
This is cut.
this is not good. We're not doing this. All right, so last but not least, we're going to try some baby food because another popular trend is the baby food diet.
Kind of hoping this is the best tasting one.
It doesn't have much to live up to, so
Let's
the
go.
odds are good.
This does not taste like Thanksgiving.
No. Well, so basically what we learned is that we are not cut out for diets. But if you are, feel free to try these, but we don't recommend it.
Well, that looked appetizing.
Have you ever tried one of those, Jenna?
Does it look like I've tried one of those, Lauren? And now I definitely don't plan on it.
I tried the Beyonce cleanse once and I only lasted 3 days, but that's probably a good thing because those cleanses are very unhealthy. But that's not the only spring break preparation that can be unhealthy. For some of you, bearing skin that hasn't seen the sun since last summer can seem unbearable, but tanning doesn't come without dangers. Spring break marks the unofficial start of bathing suit season. Some say a little color on their skin makes them feel better about their appearance. But 23-year-old Lainey Heaton found that looking good doesn't come without risks.
And so I went to a skin doctor and she diagnosed me.
Lainey's diagnosis was the most dangerous type of skin cancer, melanoma.
And now I use makeup that has SPF in it to help block against just the everyday rays.
Though Lainey is smart to look out for her skin on a daily basis, we found some information that may surprise you.
Many believe that using a foundation with sunscreen will be enough to protect their skin.
Unfortunately, this doesn't provide enough coverage. The American Medical Association says you'll need to apply 7 times the amount of makeup that you normally do to get the SPF you're promised. So a smarter option may be to apply a simple sunscreen before applying any other makeup at all. This way, you'll get the SPF you're promised without applying the 7 layers of makeup. Deanne Corley, owner of Natural Glow Spray Tans, says the battle with skin cancer hits close to home for her.
I had some precancerous places on my chest, so I thought this is a no-brainer. I'll go set up near the university, spray the college girls, and keep them from getting skin cancer.
USC junior Allison Harley says the risks aren't threatening enough to keep her out of the sun. We found Allison out tanning this weekend when it was less than 55 degrees.
Spring break's in 2 weeks, so I'll probably be out here a good amount. I have a pretty high tolerance for colder weather. To me, it's really nice in South Carolina almost always.
Deanne says that she does believe that the dangers of tanning are becoming more well known among young people.
More girls are spray tanning now than they're going to the UV beds, the tanning beds, and laying out in the sun. It just seems to be a safer option.
If you were planning on spending your spring break tanning, hopefully now you'll think twice. The FDA advises that everyone should wear 15 SPF daily, and you'll definitely want to follow that advisement because receiving bad news like Lainey did could ruin your spring break.
It certainly could. Well, we've covered preparing for spring break, and coming up, we'll take a closer look into the actual vacation and what happens when a week of intended fun without rules leads students to do things they wouldn't normally do.
And we'll hear some crazy spring break mistakes from USC students.
And a big red and blue bruise formed and I broke my foot.
My limit is 2, and I always make sure to eat something.
If I'm out for several hours, my limit is 3.
I know my limit is 1.
Until I'm 21, my limit is always 0.
Alcohol affects people differently, but the legal limit is .08 for everyone over 21. In order to be safe and stay well below the legal limit, it's important to know your limits and know the law. To find out more, go to responsiblelimits.com.
Welcome back to Carolina Magazine.
For some, a week with no classes means a week without rules. Liz McIntyre shows you the more risky side of spring break.
A week of heavy drinking and excessive partying is enough to give this week a bad rap. Movies like this one, coming out in late spring, glamorize the risky side of a week with no rules. Spring break.
I'm doing cake stands and beer mugs!
When school is bogging you down and you just act buck wild and do whatever you want.
Everyone here's drinking.
Spring break exists as a week to step away from classes and obligations. But some students use it as an opportunity to do things they would not normally do.
It doesn't look like it's changed all that much.
Rhonda DeNovo, the Director of Substance Abuse Prevention and Education, says that this attitude can turn a week of intended fun into danger really quickly.
I think for some students that might also be a time where they want to be a little more experimental, just with all types of behaviors and certainly with behaviors that involve alcohol or drugs. But it is that's a very dangerous attitude and belief to have.
Movies like Spring Breakers and MTV Spring Break specials airing pre-break encourage that belief. The attitude that says spring break is a break from the norm.
Pot, coke, you could get free prescription drugs because you're an American and you can be like, you forgot your prescription.
She never finds out.
We get drugs in South Padre.
It's never a good idea to try those types of drugs that can cause any kind of damage, but especially if you're purchasing them from an unreliable source.
A change in location shouldn't necessarily mean a change in judgment. Liz McIntyre, Carolina Magazine.
As important as it is to have fun, you also need to be responsible.
Yeah, we spoke to some students who came back from break with lessons they learned the hard way. Take a listen.
I thought it was a great idea to go get my belly button pierced, and we were like, oh my God, spring break, YOLO, like whatever. So I got it done, and then they're like, yeah, don't get in any like water like for a couple weeks until it heals. And I was like, okay, that'll work out. Like, I'll just stay out of the pool or whatever. So we went to a party that night, and I guess I forgot about that, and I jumped into a hot tub with all my clothes on.
One way or another, you end up on top of the bar, dancing, making a fool of yourself. End up on the beach, you know, with a couple girls. Back in the hotel room, girls are gone, and you wake up hung over the toilet.
I was playing soccer with the UNC men's soccer team, and this guy went to kick the ball at the same time I went to kick the ball because, you know, I know how to play soccer and all, which I don't. And he kicked my foot, and my toes just crunched together, and the bone of the top of my foot like instantly went up, and a big red and blue bruise formed, and I broke my foot.
Though some people use spring break as an excuse to get wild and party, others use it as a chance to serve people who are less fortunate. I talked to some students who have traveled around the world to make a difference in other communities, and I found out what made these trips so special. Having fun in a new community is a big part of mission work for the students at the Methodist Student Network. Christine Burke is a member of MSN, and she's been spending her spring breaks going on international mission trips since freshman year.
First time I'd ever left the country, and it just totally has shaped my college career. Like, that's just it. Like, left the country and it has changed my perspective on so many things, and I've traveled so much since then internationally, just in my time in college.
Christine has traveled to different parts of South and Central America, and this year she's heading to Brazil.
We leave in a week and 2 weeks.
She says the mission team helps serve the community by donating food, providing medical care, building houses, and other ways.
Here, they're demonstrating proper toothbrushing techniques, because we had a dental clinic too, and we passed out toothbrushes and toothpaste to all the kids who came in. These little girls were so cute.
They also teach the Word of God through crafts and create a vacation Bible school for the kids.
Butterfly, maybe. You know.
Last year we had like 8 Spider-Men on the ark, so.
And Christine says they bring their supplies over in their suitcases.
So kind of the rule of don't even fill a whole bag of your own personal stuff, like you leave some extra room in one bag and then bring a whole extra bag of only donations. So that's how we take donations with us, and that's the medical supplies, the Vacation Bible School supplies, and then like gifts for the people.
We have fun, I mean, obviously.
Tom Wall is the minister at USC's Methodist Church, and he's led over 40 mission trips through MSN. He says it's a culture shock at first, but it creates opportunities for students.
When students come back, they reflect more on their own life. You know, do I have too much stuff? Is my life too complicated? You know, what I want to do in life, is it what I really should be doing?
And Christine can vouch for him on that.
It really does affect you, because you've been in a different place with different people thinking about different things. Like, when you come home and it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to study for this test to do what? Like, what am I preparing for with my life?
Cheryl Soule in the Department of Student Life says she hears the same thing.
Typically what I hear is, this changed my life. I'm changing my whole plan. I'm going to change my major. I'm going to do something different. It really has an impact.
She's in charge of the Dobson Fund, the fund that makes it possible for students like Christine to travel around the world and serve.
When you receive the funding, they will grant up to 50% of the funds that you need for your trip.
The Dobson Fund office is located inside the Russell House, and you don't have to be a student or serve internationally to receive the funding. Faculty are encouraged to apply, and your trip can be inside the U.S. as long as it's related to deep service. Christine says it's more than just mission work.
I really enjoy bonding with the people on this trip.
And while they're there, they get to be tourists in the city. But still, her favorite memories aren't of her souvenirs. It's the time with the people in both their community and her own.
It also is strengthening our community, like that we are able to do this together.
And she recommends an alternative spring break to everyone on campus.
It's just like a more meaningful way than getting drunk on the beach.
The MSN group leaves a couple of days before spring break actually starts, and this year they'll be serving in Rio de Janeiro.
Well, what about those students who aren't leaving for spring break? Just because you have a low budget doesn't mean you have to miss out on the spring break fun. Ryan Mace tells us about an inexpensive alternative.
Spring break is a time for exotic destinations and fun in the sun for many students. But with the cost of travel going up, what can students who are on a budget do for their break?
Trying to save money and cut back on gas.
USC student Jeremy Sullivan says that he will be staying home for spring break this year.
I'm going to be staying in Columbia for spring break just because I got work. It's just not in the cards to travel this spring break.
Many students opt for the staycation.
Well, the term came into use a couple of years ago when the Great Recession started and people were trying to think about how they might save some money and still have family recreation, family trips. And so the idea began to move forward of trying to visit places locally.
But what is exactly out there for students looking to save a few bucks and still get the vacation experience?
Congaree National Park, used to be Congaree Swamp, is the only full national park, and it's a World Biosphere site. So a lot of people don't understand what a great attraction we have close to home.
If Congaree National Park isn't your idea of a great time, you can also try other attractions in the Columbia area.
Consider a day trip to Riverbank Zoo, or even visit the Columbia Museum of Art or the South Carolina State Museum if you're still in Columbia. So if you're looking to save a few dollars and can't make the trip to Florida or the Caribbean, consider the staycation for your spring break. Because after all,
I'd still like to enjoy my spring break.
Ryan Mace, Carolina Magazine.
So staying close to home doesn't necessarily have to be boring after all. Maybe I'll hang by this pool next week.
But if you're looking to get away and funds are limited, don't be discouraged. I talked with a local travel agent and some students about how you can go on a fun trip without going broke.
Rio Montego Bay still has some availability.
If you haven't booked a spring break trip yet, there's still hope. Eileen Nason is a local travel agent, and she says there are still some deals available. But if you want to save money, she advises starting early. Students have taken her advice, and they say it makes a difference.
I actually found a Groupon for a really good hotel in Vegas called the Golden Nugget, and it was like the best deal. It was like something like 70-something% off. It was absolutely ridiculous, so that kind of just sold us that we were going there.
She found her Groupon back in November and says finding something like that now would be harder and maybe even impossible.
Like if you really research it and you look for the deals and you find all the special accommodations and stuff like that, then I think it's doable, especially if you plan in advance.
She says you can't be too picky about flight times either.
You're going to not be in the nicest places, and we're taking like a flight at like 3 in the morning, but if you're willing, I think that students can actually make it work.
And if you didn't plan ahead, you might still be in luck.
Get a good deal at the last minute on a cruise right now.
And with a cruise, you can save money in other ways.
To leave out of Port Canaveral because it is within driving distance, so that saves on a flight and those kind of expenses.
For college students, Chris says all-inclusive is the way to go.
So it includes room and board, food, all the different stops, entertainment, so it was a good deal in the end.
If you want to stay within a tighter budget, consider visiting friends.
I'm going to DC and I'm staying with a friend, so obviously I won't have to pay for a hotel or anything, so that's nice. And then in DC, all of the museums and stuff are free.
But whether you're going on a cruise or somewhere closer, Nason recommends visiting her next year.
Go and see a travel agent.
She says they keep track of all the deals and it doesn't cost you more than booking a trip online. So spring break doesn't have to mean breaking the bank.
And the party doesn't have to end when you get back to Columbia. We'll tell you why next.
We're going camping, right?
Hey guys.
The strongest families are built one moment at a time. For more ways to make every day count, visit facebook.com/makeeverydaycount.
Welcome back.
Most students start coming back to Columbia the Friday and Saturday of spring break. But this year, the party isn't over once you're back in the 803. St. Pat's and Five Points is a festival that people look forward to all year. This year, it falls at the very end of spring break, and some students are planning their trips around it.
Made sure of it because we definitely want to experience our last St. Pat's. So we're getting back like Friday night and we'll be up here Saturday morning. So we're excited. We're doing it all.
The festival draws thousands every year.
I know my friends that I'm going with really wanted to be back in time for St. Patrick's Day. And it is a big deal in Columbia, at a big festival, to get to see some of the musicians that'll be there.
The festival is March 16th, so just because your trip is over doesn't mean the party has to stop. I know I'll be there in all my St. Pat's gear. What about you, Lauren?
I will too, but when all that's over, the realization hits and the party's over. Some people call this post-spring break depression. Both students and teachers can see it. Teachers find their students in a haze the weeks after spring break. Lack of concentration, enthusiasm, and motivation create problems in the classroom. Teacher Michelle Hardy noticed this a long time ago and has had to find ways to keep her students interested after their fun week away.
I think as an instructor and a professor at a university, you have to make the effort to be very enthusiastic about the class, get the students enthusiastic.
She says it's important to keep students' minds off the clock and on the subject. Hardy says this post-spring break phenomenon happens every year.
Their motivation is down, their enthusiasm is down, and they just are not focused on the class at all. And it's a real thing, you can really see it.
Those 2 months after spring break are tough for students and teachers alike.
I know getting back into the swing of things is tough for me, but for some seniors, dealing with post-spring break depression is worth it to get in the last hurrah. Liz McIntyre spoke with some seniors about celebrating their last week of fun before heading off into the real world.
Yes, we're gonna high five.
For seniors Sally Elliott and Jordan McKinney, this spring break is the last one they will spend together. They plan to do it big with an all-inclusive trip to Cancun, Mexico with 15 of their friends.
A few girls decided on it, and then Sally came to me and was like, a bunch of girls are going to Cancun this year. Do you want to go? I was like, yeah, sure, plan it, whatever. So here we are going to Cancun.
And it's like the last big thing we get to do before we graduate. I mean, like, I want to go to grad school. She wants to go to grad school. So, like, we never have this opportunity again to, like, go with all of our sisters. And there's, like, so many of us going, and it's so cheesy, but it's going to be so fun just to, like, be on the beach and drink all day. And it's, like, the last big thing we do before we're all separated.
Yeah. So, like, I guess we'll, like, all be in Cancun together and then disperse our different ways after graduation. So it'll be fun.
But it'll be fun while we go.
Elliott says they have one-upped their spring breaks every year and plans on making this one better than the past.
One of the things I really want to do, because we can't do it here, is go to the nude beach. I'm so excited for it. I don't know why, but it's going to be awesome.
Aside from almost getting left by the cruise ship and breaking a bone, these seniors have made memories that will stay with them for a lifetime.
Remember how we had to sneak our alcohol onto the cruise?
Yeah, step one, going to Target, getting all the travel shampoo bottles. Step two, sneaking into the hotel bathroom, locking the door, keeping all the old ladies out. 3, taping the fifths of bourbon to my stomach.
In her pants.
In my oversized Nike shorts.
I wore one of her like D bras and stuffed all my mini bottles from here around and put 2 sports bras over it and then a big t-shirt, and then I put one in my built-in underwear and my Nike shorts, and I was good to go.
Yeah.
And because I figured if we go through the thing and they're like, oh ma'am, I need to look at your chest, like no one's gonna say that.
And they aren't the only students celebrating this last week of freedom.
It's just sad. I mean, my friend and I the other night were talking about how we've only got like 2.5 months left, and it's sad. This is it. We're going to the real world after this, so it's kind of good that it's actually possible for us to make a hurrah out of our last experience.
So for some students, it's not just a week of fun, it's their last week of college fun. Liz McIntyre, Carolina Magazine.
Lauren, I can't believe this is our last spring break. I don't know what I'm going to do without this week of freedom in March.
I know, but at least we have this week to look forward to. So whether you're planning on spending your time in the sun, staycationing, or serving, be sure to be careful and have fun.
From our favorite staycation spot in Columbia, I'm Jenna Moore.
And I'm Lauren Roundtree. Thanks for watching.